Hi, I'm Mark from Trinic. In today's video, we're going to go beyond the basics and go a little bit more in depth with using Trinic's H-12 sealer. The great news for fabricators is that we've closed the gap. By that I mean now, using Trinic's products, you can fabricate a concrete countertop, deliver it, and then have no callbacks, or very limited callbacks. In the year since we've launched H-12, we've had minor problems with mixing and application, but virtually no callbacks of product in place. Probably 99% success rate at least. And the callbacks that have happened, since it's water-based, you can fix it. And that's been a godsend for people. The industry's finally reached a point where people can make a living, sleep at night, and deliver a product that they can stand behind. And H-12 sealer is a big part of that. Today we're going to cover how to mix in detail, meaning how warm to have your water, how to mix this part, how to do that part, based on feedback we've had from customers. Now last winter, a lot of guys were having problems because their shops weren't warm enough. Now this summer, majority of those problems went away, some others crept in. So we're going to carefully go over how to apply it and how to mix it and apply it. When you purchase H-12 from Trinic, it comes in two parts, part A and part B. The choices are either matte or a semi-gloss. Now the matte finish is just that, it's about a dead matte. A semi-gloss, you can actually buff to more of a gloss if you want to by allowing it to sit for 2 to 3 days. Using polishing compound and a buffer, you can bring it up to more of a gloss. We like matte because it doesn't show marks as bad, especially in darker colors. So we'd recommend the matte. If you need someone who needs a gloss, glass top, something you want to shine, you can use the gloss. And it's suitable for both indoor and outdoor applications. When you buy it, you'll get, number one, H-12 mixing instructions. After a year, we've sorted through, gone through problems, and we've defined exactly how to mix it. You'll need a couple of clean cups. Syringes come with the product. One large, one small. The large is for the large, the small for the small. Don't ever use one for the other or you'll ruin the whole kit. You'll need a high density white foam roller. And a temperature gauge. In the wintertime, you're going to use warm water. Summertime, maybe cold water. Drill with one of your wife's paddles on it. I believe that's everything to get started. Vinny will walk you through exactly how he's figured out the temperature differences and how to mix it.
All right, now I'm going to walk you through the mixing process of the H-12. Couple of key important factors when starting out. The mix ratio for the A side and the B side is you're going to mix 2 parts A with 1 part B. Now, when you're doing this, don't ever mix a quantity less than 20 mils A and 10 mils B. If you do, you are actually changing the ratios because H-12 works off a catalyst and heat is a catalyst. So if you don't have enough mass to generate enough heat, it would actually need more catalyst. So don't ever do 20 mils A and 10 mils B. Don't ever do less than that, and you shouldn't have problems with that. Now you also mix this with water. So when you start, your first coat is going to be 7 parts water, 1 part sealer. Then your next coat is 4 parts water, 1 part sealer. The next 2 you can play with a little bit. You don't have to do a 3-to-1 and a 2-to-1. It depends on what you need. If I'm doing a vanity, I'll do 7-to-1, 4-to-1, and a 3-to-1, and I'll stop. If I'm doing a countertop, I would probably do all 4. But if you're in a hot climate and it's drying too fast for you, then maybe instead of doing another 2-to-1, do 2 3-to-1s. And it'll help you with being able to lay it down easy and not have problems. Now another thing to keep in mind when doing this is what are your temperatures and what are your humidities, because this sealer likes humidity and it likes heat. So right now our shop is 70 degrees Fahrenheit and it's 70% relative humidity. Now our piece is going to be 70 degrees too, So when I'm doing this, I'm kind of going to want to get a sealer temperature of about 80 degrees. I know that because that's what I've done in our shop, and through testing you'll figure that out. So before you ever go and do anybody's piece, make sure you test it so you can figure out what you need to do to apply it. So we'll do this first 7-to-1 coat on this bench that we have. I'll mix 20 mils A and 10 mils B. Now when you start this off, you always want to start off by drill mixing the A side first. I usually drill mix the A side for a good 2 minutes. I did mix it before we started it, so I won't sit here for 2 minutes. But it helps mix it up and make it uniform so you don't have any settlement dropping out of it. Now, so what I'll do, open up my big syringe. Always pull it up, then push it down, otherwise you get air in the syringe. Pull it up past 20, push it down. Always put the A side in the cup first, it's thinner. If you put the B side in, it'll get stuck to the edges. So I put in this. It's over here. When adding the B side to the A side, try not to get any of it on the side of the cup, otherwise you'll get problems because it'll actually stick. And you don't want it to stick to the sides because that means it won't fully mix in all the way. So I like to kind of get it in the middle, put it around, go in circles. Don't put it all in one big glob because you'll get problems that way. And then to mix this, you need to mix it for 3 solid minutes at least. So what I'll do is I'll start off with a stir stick. So I really scrape the sides and get as much of it off the sides as I can. And then once I get that done, usually I'll mix it for 1.5 minutes this way and then 1.5 minutes with the drill mixer. Alright, so I've been mixing it for about 1.5 minutes now. Take my stir stick out and drill mix it for 1.5 minutes. Alright, so now that I mixed that for 1.5 minutes, we gotta let it sit for a 5-minute induction time. That is key so that the reaction can start happening. So the reason why we have such a strict mixing protocol with this is if you don't mix it all in and you get B side that's not mixed in, you'll actually get white specks on the surface of your top and you'll have to take and strip it and restart. And you don't want to do that, we don't want you to do that. So mix it right and you won't get problems like that. So we'll let it sit for 5, then we'll add our water. Okay, now it's been 5 minutes, so now we're going to add our water. I need to add 210 mils of water because I have a total of 30 mils sealer. So my 7-to-1 coat, 30 times 7 is 210. So I'll add 210 mils of water. And then I'll mix this for 5. I didn't mention, but our water temperature is 92 degrees and the sealer temperature was 72. So by adding this water, and by the time we go to apply it, the sealer temperature is probably going to be around 80 degrees. For us, that's ideal. Like I said earlier, figure out what you need to do. During the winter, you may need to add warm water so it'll dry, because it may not dry. Sometimes it'll just sit there and it may take, half the day for one coat to dry, and if that's happening, add warm water. If it's drying too fast and you don't have enough time to roll it, add cold water. So you can kind of play with this sealer to make it do what you want it to do. Alright, now it's mixed for about 3 minutes, and now I'll let it sit for another 5. It's really important that you follow this procedure so that you don't have problems going down the road. let this sit for 5, and then we'll go start. Now we're not going to show you the rest of the mixing procedure for the following coats, but the mixing procedure does stay the same for all your coats. 7 to 1, 4 to 1, they all stay the same. You have to mix it like this: 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Make sure you do that every time, because if you don't give that induction time or you don't mix it long enough, you're going to run into problems. And that's not what you want, and that's not what we want.
Those of you who came to our last class can take pride in this piece. It's actually my desk for the office. The sides are foam core, the ends, and then this is hollow underneath. And after you guys left, I waited a few days and I used Trinic's Versacolor on it. I think I used a deep sea blue and an evergreen blended together. We'll show you a close-up of what it came out like. When you use Trinic's Versacolor in LS, or our LS lockup, our lithium silicate, it carries the color in and it locks it in fairly well. You still need to seal it, but what you should be able to do if you've done things right is take a gray Scotch-Brite and scrub your piece. After you scrub it, you should be able to wipe it down vigorously with a dry cloth. Now, some color will come off, but not excessive color. So now you know that you're ready to seal. Scrub it a little, wipe it down. If it all comes off, something's wrong. You should be able to rub some off if you rub vigorously, but not all of it. Some of the color is going to bleed. That's okay. Let it bleed, it'll soak back in, it'll lock in with this first coat. Mistake number one people make: they don't leave enough on the surface. Give the concrete all at once. Dump it out. It's okay if you use it all. If you need more, mix more. What I'll do to my verticals is I'll wet the top out, then I'll use my moist roller to keep soaking the verticals. Keep it soaked. That's the key. Keep it soaked. Verticals, I'll start at top, bottom, whatever. I'll soak them one time, soak them again, soak them again. This process can last an hour. Would be overkill. I'd say minimum 5 minutes. 10 minutes is better. The edges, you're going to hit again, hit again. At this point, I'm not worried about foaming. All I'm worried about is keeping surfaces wet. Get a little off the top, hit the edges. We cheated and I did the inside of the legs already. See the way it's starting to dry? Just keep rolling it. Add more product if you need it. It'll get to the point where it doesn't want to dry anymore. The reason is all of the capillaries in the concrete are full with sealer. Once they're full, it's super saturated. Once it's super saturated, it won't take anymore. And that's where we want to get to. There is some color transfer, but not a lot. One of the keys is LS lockup and Versacolor, Trinic's Versacolor. The other key is give it a day or two to work after you color it, because it is a chemical reaction. So if I gave this a day, this is probably 3 days, the color's locked in. Now for bigger pieces, one of our customers having success using a 9-inch roller with a 1/4-inch neck. As long as you don't over apply it, you'll see we need to get most of it off, that's fine. Now it's starting to get to the point where my edge is going to need work, but the top is not sucking it in anymore. Might as well use it all. Roller lines come from allowing it to dry in that spot. It'd be a roller line. Keep it soaked. That's all of it. The only part I'm a little worried about is inside here, because I already sealed it. You're going to do your other coats the same way. Now, customer feedback on other coats is everyone's doing the 7-to-1. Most people are doing the 4-to-1, or people are starting to vary a little bit. If they're having trouble with the 3-to-1 or 2-to-1, some folks are doing 3 4-to-1s, and that works for them. Some folks are doing 2 3-to-1s. So it depends on your concrete, how fast it's drying, your humidity level. All those factors play a role. I haven't timed it, but I can tell by the way it's reacting now, it's not sucking it in anymore. Even my edge looks like it has about all at once. I think I'm getting close. Now if you did this for 5 minutes and it had all at once, that's all you need. If you did it for 10 minutes, that's fine too. But if you run out of material and this coat starts to flash off or evaporate or suck in, that's when you get lines. So you're better off over mixing, it's mostly water, and allowing the concrete to just suck it up. You're closing all those minute capillaries with this coat. Now what I'll probably do, my edges are looking really good. Edges you want to match color-wise. Color enhancement-wise, but obviously they're going to see much less staining or abrasion. Now that I'm satisfied that it has all at once, this is going to be the same on every coat. Give it all at once. I can start to remove excess. The way I'll do that is I will take my roller, here's my hand, bring out the roller. This foaming's okay, we'll go through a slight foaming stage, and eventually that's going to dissipate. If you were to leave it too thick, 7-to-1 probably wouldn't hurt so bad, but the other coats, if you leave them too thick, they won't cure right. What happens is the water is trying to get out of the sealer, the top of the sealer skins over, the water can't get out, then you've got problems. It'll stay soft, for one. The edges are actually looking really nice. And it won't cure properly. Now the good news is, if you do have a failure on any coat, you can strip it. You would take acetone, a gray Scotch-Brite, and rags. Dump the acetone on, scrub it, and before the acetone flashes off, wipe it off with a rag. You can remove a coat, or all coats if you needed to. So whatever happens, it's extremely fixable. The other great thing about this sealer is it's recoatable indefinitely. Meaning 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you have a kitchen that gets a little worn, some scratches, you can go in, sand it lightly, recoat it. There's absolutely no odor. It's another great benefit. This edge, I'm worried about runs. We definitely don't want runs there. Keep laying out. The sealer will tell you, another thing I'm doing, light pressure. You don't want to push or force. The sealer will tell you when it's done rolling. You'll be rolling, rolling, rolling. All of a sudden, the foam will disappear, and the sealer marks will dissipate right after the roller. My edges are getting there fast. Main concern on the edge, no runs. Now my next step, since my edges are almost there, is I'm actually going to use paper towels on my roller to suck excess material out. An option to this would be to use a fresh roller if you want to. Keep my paper towels with me. This edge is just about done. Roller marks are dissipating. Runs are gone. Edge is looking really good. I'll work that one more time. That's absolutely done. Now the top I'm watching. I don't want it to dry before I get to it. It's getting there. Let me hit this other edge. This is where the temperature of your sealer comes in. If it's hot as hell where you are, use colder water, cooler water. Don't ever use 40-degree water. It's okay to use 60-degree tap water. If it's hot, if it's setting too fast, well then you can change the water. Use some cooler water. If it's setting too slow, use hotter water. Sides are done. Check for runs. Side looks beautiful. Now I'll work the top. Now my roller marks are dissipating. You can see it's drier here, more moisture there. because the sealer's telling me it's done there. I roll, roller marks dissipate right after it. That's the magic. Right here, totally done. Down here, there's still a little bit too much sealer. Rag it off a little. All of a sudden it hits that sweet spot. Once you get to that sweet spot, it's telling you don't roll it anymore. Roller marks are dissipating, foam's gone, piece is done. That's it. Coat 1 is done. You'll do the same thing with subsequent coats. Edges look nice. A little bit of a run there. Fix it. I'm done. Now the rule is tack free, meaning smudge free. When you rub it, it doesn't smudge. Plus 1 hour, you're ready for the next coat. If you need to, what happens when this is trying to cure is the water's trying to evaporate. It'll form a film, millimeter thick above it, that's high humidity that stops it from curing. So fans, once the fan won't move the material, fans are fine, they help. Run fans, run heaters in the winter, get some air movement going, things will time out much quicker. In a cold garage with no air movement, you're gonna have trouble. That's it for coat 1, and subsequent coats follow the same thing. You'll be fine. Call us with any questions.